Yes,
Yes,
student?
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So we'll start the chapter, raster scan graphics, about title of the chapter. So just now I discussed about raster scan graphics. The word raster came from the Latin word rastrum. So in Latin, it is called as a rastrum, and the meaning of that rastrum is nothing but rack. So you are good familiar with the rack, and the shape of the rack is almost like a rectangle. So that's why rectangular pattern. So meaning of raster is rectangular pattern. Raster scanning is the rectangular pattern of image capturing and reconstructing it in television. So mostly in case of television and computer monitors, so the picture is get generated, and to generate that picture, the method of raster scanning is used. And what is raster scanning? Raster scanning is the rectangular pattern of image capturing. So how to capture the image? In the form of rectangular pattern. So what is that rectangular pattern? Rectangular pattern is nothing but the pixel. So we are trying to capture the image. We are trying to draw the image in the form of rectangles. So once again, I will repeat. I said the pixel size, pixel shape is looking like a rectangle. So either it will be rectangle or it will be square. So we can call square as a rectangle. Is it right? Are you agree with me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
We can call square as a
Yes, ma'am.
rectangle. So in case of square, both sides are same, and in case of rectangle, both sides are different. So, but we can call square as a rectangle. So in turn, so the pixel shape is looking like a rectangle, and that's why we are trying to scan these rectangles. So this is called as a raster scanning, and graphics is representation of data in pictorial format. So this is nothing but the raster scan graphics, about title of the chapter. After that, central idea. So before that, let me know. So are you writing the things which I am discussing at the time of lecture in your notebook?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Write करताय का तुम्ही? Everybody? Then if you are writing, so before going to this screen, so write the syllabus first. Come on, open your notebooks and write the syllabus of this chapter. Under this chapter, we are going to discuss line drawing algorithms, under line drawing, DDA, Bresenham's algorithm. Then we are discussing about Bresenham's circle generation algorithm. Then we are discussing about RLE. The last point, polygon filling. Under polygon filling, scan converting polygon, edge fill, edge flat, seed fill. Over. Yes, are you writing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So at least write the syllabus and textbook name, and then we'll proceed further. Especially for this chapter, it is required to write everything in your notebook, because we are solving examples. So I will solve one example, and you need to solve one or two examples. So that example solving is most important in this chapter. So you need to write everything in your notebook. So that will be better. Can I proceed further to the next slide? Yes. Line drawing algorithms, DDA, Bresenham's algorithm, Bresenham's circle generation algorithm, run length encoding, polygon filling, under polygon filling, scan converting polygon, edge fill, age flag, seed fill. Okay, we'll proceed to the next slide. So write down the name of the book, textbook required for this chapter, procedural elements for computer graphics. Procedural elements for computer graphics by David Rogers. By David Rogers. And write the course outcome. So you will be able to understand after completion of this chapter, you will be able to draw lines, draw circles, and draw polygons, and you are able to fill the polygons. This is nothing but the course outcome with respect to this chapter. I will send the assignment on your WhatsApp group. Okay. Next, about title of the chapter. Note down the title. Title is Raster Scan Graphics. Word by word meaning I have given over here. So the word raster came from the Latin word rastrum, and meaning of rastrum is rack. Shape of the rack is like a rectangle. So that's why meaning of raster is rectangular pattern. Raster scanning is the rectangular pattern of image capturing and reconstructing it in television. Not only television, so any output devices, picture devices, picture tubes. Graphics is representation of data in pictorial format. This is nothing but the raster scan graphics. Hello? And for what purpose? For what purpose you called? Madam, can you call me after 1 hour? My lecture is going on right now. Huh? Okay. Okay, can we proceed further, students? Give me response. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll proceed. So actually regarding central idea, so just now I talked, so we are discussing about the algorithms. This is nothing but a central idea. So next one, importance of the chapter. So as we are drawing with the help of computer, so it is required to study algorithm drawing. So as we are discussing the raster scan display principle, so this principle is applied by the CRT, so cathode ray tube. So it is related to the computer monitor. So we need to discuss this particular chapter. So without that, we can't draw the pictures with the help of pixels. So this is the importance of this chapter. Next. Okay, so we'll start the chapter. So now no need to write anything. So first of all, I will discuss, and whenever I will say to you people write down, then only you have to write. Otherwise, just listen to me carefully. So because we are discussing the algorithms, and each algorithm is having its own example. Okay, so the first point from this chapter itself, it is a line drawing algorithm. First chapter from this point is line drawing algorithm. So before proceeding to the point, so I just want to ask you people, if I say draw a line, so what is the basic requirement to draw the line? What you require to draw any line? Come on.
2 points.
Good. 2 endpoints are required. Is it right? 2 endpoints are required to draw a line, and this is the basic requirement to draw a line. In the same fashion, in case of computer also, So if you want to draw the line, so we should have two endpoints. So these two endpoints should not be same. So they should be unequal. They should be separate. Then only we are able to draw the line. For example, if I say 0, 0 and 0, 0. So both the points are same. So in that case, I'm unable to draw the line. So I'm able to draw only one point. So that's why. So here, first of all, we are discussing about the requirements for line drawing. So line should have two endpoints which are not equal. Line should have two endpoints which are not equal. So whatever two endpoints we are taking, so these two endpoints should be totally separate. They should not be same. For example, if I say with me two points are there, one point is 0, 0 and another point is 0, 0. So that is both the points are same. So in that case, we are unable to draw the line. So we are able to draw only one point. Are you agree with me? Yes? Come on.
Yes.
So like
Yes, ma'am.
two endpoints which are not equal. So both the endpoints should be totally separate. Next, line should be straight. So line should be straight. So now I will take the help of one tool over here present. That is say pointer. I will use the pen. So two endpoints are there. Say this one and this one. So I should not draw the line like this. So I can't call it as a line. So I should draw the line like this only. That is, it should be straight. So line should be straight. Line should start accurately and line should end accurately. For example, if this is the end point and if this is the end point, so it should start from over here. So it should not be like this because it is not ending correctly. Or if these are the two end points, so it should not be like this. Are you getting my point? Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So it should start correctly and it should end correctly. And that is nothing but line should start accurately and line should end accurately. So these are the basic requirements for line drawing. And the last requirement is line density should be independent of the line length. For example, so if this is the line, so if I had drawn the line and further, if I made like this, that is, so over here for this slot, I have made it as somewhat dark and this is somewhat faint. So this is nothing but the density, line density, that is nothing but the intensity of the pixel. So whatever number of pixels I'm drawing on the line, so each and every pixel should have the same density. It should have the same color. So the pixels, they should not differ in the color. So one pixel may be having white color, another pixel may be having red color or a faint red color, like that. It should not be there. This is called as a line density. So line density should be independent of line length. So whatever line length is there, so the density should be constant throughout the line from start to end. So these are the four basic requirements for drawing the line. Any doubt? Yes? Can you proceed further?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes.
So this is the basic concept which we already know. So now we'll proceed further. So next slide is related to the actual point. So now under line drawing algorithm, we are discussing about 2 points, two algorithms we are discussing. First is the DDA and second one is the Bresenham's. So first of all, we'll discuss about DDA. So DDA stands for Digital Differential Analyzer. Digital Differential Analyzer. So you are good familiar with the differential analyzer or difference in case of mathematics. You are discussed about differentiation. That is nothing but the difference between two variables. So the same term we are using as a part of this algorithm, and that's why the name given to this algorithm is differential analyzer. So it takes the help of difference, and further it is digital because we are implementing this algorithm with the help of computer, and that's why it is called as a digital differential analyzer. So we are taking the help of differential analyzer. So what is differential analyzer? That is, we are taking the help of difference. For example, delta x. So what is delta x? For example, if two elements are there having x coordinate x1 and x2, so we'll take the difference x2 minus x1. So that is nothing but the delta x. So in this algorithm, we are using delta x, delta y, etc. So that's why it is called as a digital differential analyzer. So just keep in mind, so some kind of mathematical equations, differences differential terms we are using inside this algorithm, and that's why it is called as a differential analyzer. And further, why it is called as a digital, because we are taking the help of computer to implement this algorithm, and that's why the name of the algorithm is digital differential analyzer. And what we are doing with the help of this algorithm, so this algorithm purpose is drawing the line. So line drawing algorithms. Under line drawing algorithm, we are discussing about one algorithm, that is DDA. So we are using DDA to draw a line in computer. And how we are drawing the line? Pixel by pixel. Keep in mind, we are discussing about the chapter name Raster Scan Graphics. So chapter itself tells that it is using the raster scan principle. Raster scan principle. In first chapter, we discussed about random and raster. So here throughout this chapter, we are talking about raster. So what is the raster scan display principle? Here we are drawing the picture in the form of pixel. So now we are discussing about line drawing algorithm. It means our object is nothing but the line. And how we are drawing the line? So we are drawing the line with the help of pixels, pixel by pixel. So I can define line collection of pixels. I can define line as a collection of pixels. मला जर line draw करायची असेल तर मला number of pixels draw करायला लागतील. So I need to draw the n number of pixels which are coming in between start end point and end point. Are you agree with me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is line? Line is nothing but collection of pixels. And how we are drawing the line? Pixel by pixel. So we are trying to calculate the pixel positions, and then we are trying to draw the pixel. And the same thing we are discussing with the help of this algorithm. So first of all, let me show the algorithm. So whatever I have written, whatever slide is there in front of you, so this is the half part of this algorithm. So before that, everybody is able to understand the term algorithm? Yes? Come on.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think in C programming, you know, you have cleared the concept of algorithm. So once again, I will clear. So two terms are there. One is the program and another is the algorithm. So algorithm is nothing but the step-by-step evaluation of the task. एखादी टास्क तुम्हाला एखादं काम दिलं असेल तर ते काम कसं करायचं, ते काम कसं करायचं त्याच्यासाठी आपण एक प्रोसिजर लिहितो. पहिल्यांदा हे करायला पाहिजे, त्याच्यानंतर हे करायला पाहिजे, त्याच्यानंतर हे करायला पाहिजे. सो व्हॉट एव्हर स्टेप्स वी आर रायटिंग, सो दिस इज नथिंग बट द अल्गोरिदम. And according to these steps, we are trying to implement the task. For example, assume that in my home, one function is there. One function is there. So maybe marriage. So how can I divide that program into number of terms? For example, so I have scheduled that function maybe for 6 hours. I have scheduled that function for 6 hours. So I need to point out, I need to identify per hour what I am going to do. I need to identify per hour. So as total 6 hours are there, so I need to divide these 6 hours into one total 6 hours. And per hour I need to identify what kind of task, what kind of small program, part of program we are trying to implement. So that is nothing but the program. So program, it is divided further into tasks. Program further it is divided into number of tasks. So we are giving step by step. So in this first hour we'll do this. In the second hour we'll do this. In third hour we'll do this. So this is nothing but the algorithm. And what is program? So we are trying to convert these steps in terms of syntax. So syntax, again, it depends upon the language. So if I'm trying to write the C program, so I need to take the help of C syntax. If I'm trying to write the program in C++, I need to take the help of C+ syntax, C++ syntax, Java syntax, like that onwards, Python syntax, etc., etc. So like that. So program, it is the part of implementation which we are writing with respect to the language, and algorithm, it is nothing but the step-by-step procedure. And right now we are discussing about step-by-step procedure. And afterwards, so as a part of practical, so same algorithm we are trying to convert into program. Are you getting my point? आता सध्या आपण अल्गोरिदम डिस्कस करतोय, आणि अल्गोरिदम डिस्कस झाल्यानंतर आपण प्रॅक्टिकल मध्ये याचा प्रोग्राम बघणार आहोत. ओके, सो नाउ कम टू द अल्गोरिदम. सो अल्गोरिदम इज देयर इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. So it is again step by step. So first step, the line endpoints are x1, y1, x2, y2 assumed not equal. So just now we discussed basic requirement to draw the line. So we require two endpoints. So here two endpoints are given. So one endpoint is having the x coordinate x1 and y coordinate y1, and another endpoint is having the x coordinate x2 and y coordinate y2. And further, what it is written, assumed not equal. So these 2 points should not be same, they should be different. If they are different, then only we are able to draw the line. Otherwise, we are unable to draw the line. Like I said that if I give one value of x1, y1 as 0, 0, and if I give the value of x2 and y2 again 0, 0, so only 1 point I am able to draw. So that's why whatever two endpoints we are taking, so algorithm says that, so whatever two endpoints you are taking, so they should not be equal. They should not be equal. So they are assumed not equal. So they are not same. They are totally different. This is the first step. Second step, integer is the function. So integer function is used in this algorithm. And what is the purpose of this integer function? So integer of minus 8.5 is equal to minus 9. Listen carefully to understand this concept. ह्या अल्गोरिदम मध्ये एक फंक्शन वापरलंय, त्याचं नाव आहे इंटीजर. आणि त्या इंटीजरचं आउटपुट कसं येतंय, त्याला जर मी -8.5 पास केलं तर तो काय रिटर्न करतो, मला -9 रिटर्न करतो. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, इफ आय पास इंटीजर ऑफ, instead of minus, if I pass 8.5, it returns 8. Hope you are getting. So here, so if I pass instead of minus signature, so either pass minus or plus. So if you are passing minus, so the greater one, smallest one it returns. So what is the smallest one? -9. -8.5 मध्ये -8.5 is greater than -9. Are you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so -8.5 is greater than -9, the smallest one, round of figure it takes. So over here, if I pass the minus value, it returns me -9. So if I take another example, for example, integer of plus 8.5, so in that case it returns 8. Got it? Yes. ह्या फंक्शनला मी प्लस 8.5 पास केलं तर त्याचा आउटपुट काय येणार आहे, 8 येणार आहे. Got it? Yes, students, are you getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so keep in mind we are using this function while we are taking the examples. Now next function, another function we are using in this algorithm, sine function.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
here -8.5 चं -9 येतंय, मग 8 का येत नाही?
8 नाही येत, तो राऊंड फिगर कन्सिडर करतो आणि याची राऊंड फिगर म्हणजे -9 आहे. त्याचं ते फंक्शन आहे इंटीजरचं. इंटीजर -8.5 पास केल्यानंतर तो, जसा आपण 5 मोस्टली मी जर म्हणलं माझे पर्सेंटेज 77.50 एवढे आहेत, तर मोस्टली मी सांगताना किती सांगते, 77%. 77.50 आहेत, but I am telling it as a 77. So like that the integer function tells. So it takes the round of integer. It takes the round of integer figure. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So जर आपण प्लस 8.5 जर पास केलं त्याला, तर तो किती रिटर्न करणार आहे, 8 रिटर्न करणार आहे. आणि जर -8.5 पास केलं तर 9 रिटर्न करणार आहे, -9 रिटर्न करणार आहे. ओके. Or you can take -3.5 or -3.4. If I pass -3.4, so it returns me
-4.
-3.4. So it returns -4. Got? Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
If we pass
Yes, ma'am.
if we pass -3.4, it returns -4. So -4 is less than -3.4. So that value it extracts. So this is one of the function which we are using in this algorithm. Next, we are using sine function. So sine function returns the sign of that particular value. So whether the value is negative or positive, or it returns 3 values. Either it returns -1 or 0 or 1. And based upon the arguments, If the argument is less than 0, then it returns -1. If it is equal to 0, it returns 0. If it is greater than 0, it returns 1. ओके, जी काही व्हॅल्यू आपण कम्पेअर करणार आहोत ती व्हॅल्यू जर 0 पेक्षा लेस असेल तर तो साइन फंक्शन काय रिटर्न करणार आहे -1. फॉर एक्झाम्पल मी त्याला जर -7 पास केलं तर साइन फंक्शनची व्हॅल्यू किती असणार आहे? कम ऑन, माझं जर आर्ग्युमेंट -7 असेल तर साइन फंक्शन किती असणार आहे? Okay, if the argument is -7, sin function will be -1. If the argument is 0, sin function will return 0. And if the argument is 7, so the sin function returns 1. What the clear idea? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, जर मी -7 पास केलं आर्ग्युमेंट म्हणून तर तो -7 चं साइन फंक्शन काय रिटर्न करतं? -1 रिटर्न करतं. -7 पास करा किंवा -8 पास करा किंवा -3 पास करा. So for all these values the sign returns -1. And for say 5, 8, 9, so sign function returns +1. So it just takes the sign from that value. So whether the sign is negative or positive. So if depending upon that it returns -1, 0 or 1. So again, while we will take the example, you will understand the clear idea about integer function and sign function. So these are the first 3 lines which are giving the kind of declaration in case of algorithm. Next we are calculating. Okay, so next, if ABS, so one more function we are using, ABS, it stands for absolute. So ABS of x2 minus x1 greater than equal to ABS of y2 minus y1. So absolute function returns the magnitude. So it will not consider any kind of signature. For example, suppose the value of x2 is -8 and suppose the value of x1 is 0. So in that case, x2 minus x1 will be -8. And what is the value returned by absolute function? So it will be +8. Okay, so I will repeat. For example, suppose the value of x2 is -8 and suppose the value of x1 is 0. So subtraction x2 minus x1, that is -8 minus 0. So the value will be -8, and that -8 we are passing to the ABS function. So what value it returns? Instead of returning -8, it returns 8. So only magnitude is returned over here. Once again I will repeat, I will take the help of this pen. So for example, if the value of x2 is equal to say -8 and suppose the value of x1 is suppose 0, so x2 minus x1 will be -8, and this value we are passing to ABS function, this ABS function. So ABS of this -8 will be 8. Got the clear idea? Yes? Students, respond me.
If x1 value is not 0, then
X1 value
is
Okay.
not 0. It's
For
negative or
example,
positive.
okay, if suppose x1 value is, suppose you are saying negative, say -1. Okay, so if it is -1, so x2 will be -8 minus -1, so that will be +1. So result will be -7, and that -7 we are passing to ABS. The ABS will return 7. Got it? इथे लक्षात?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So
Yes,
can I
ma'am.
proceed further?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are
Yes,
using
ma'am.
these functions in our program. In our example. So once you will take the example, you will clear the concept. Don't worry. So first of all, let me complete the explanation part, and then we are taking almost 2 to 3 examples so that you will get clear. So here the fourth step is nothing but if absolute of x2 minus x1 greater than equal to absolute of y2 minus y1. So what is x2? x2 is nothing but the x coordinate of second endpoint. x1 is nothing but the x coordinate of first endpoint. y2 is nothing but the y coordinate of second endpoint, and y1 is nothing but the y coordinate of first endpoint. Okay, so we are comparing these two values, and based upon that length we are calculating. So length, it is one of the variable which is used in this algorithm. So in that case, length will be ABS of x2 minus x1. Otherwise, else length will be ABS of y2 minus y1. So if x2 minus x1 is greater, if this term is greater, in that case we are taking length is equal to this term. Otherwise, we are taking length is equal to this term. Okay. So for example, suppose x2 minus x1. Suppose the value of x2 is minus 8 and x1 is 0. And suppose the value of y2 is minus 4 and y1 is 0. So I will repeat, x2 minus 8, x1 0, y2 minus 4, y1 0. So in this case, so which term will be greater? So obviously absolute of x2 minus x1 will be greater. So in that case, length will be absolute of x2 minus x1. Otherwise, it will be absolute of y2 minus y1. So we are just taking the help of endpoints. So based upon the endpoints, we are calculating these absolute functions, and based upon these values, we are deciding the length. So length is required in this algorithm. So how to calculate the length? So length is nothing but the difference of two x values or difference of two y values. So whichever is greater, so that we are taking it as a length. Okay. So this is about 4 steps. So we'll proceed further. Next slide. So 5th step, select of delta x or delta y to be one raster unit. Okay. So what is delta x? Delta x, again, this is the standard formula given by the digital differential analyzer algorithm. So we can't change these formulas. We need to use as it is. Okay. So these are the standard algorithms. So we are not making any changes to these algorithms. We are just using these algorithms for what purpose? To draw the line. So according to this algorithm, what is the definition of delta x? So delta x is nothing but the difference of x2 minus x1 divided by length. So just now we calculated the length, and we have to take the difference of x2 minus x1. In the same fashion, what is delta y? So y2 minus y1 divided by length. So we have to calculate this, and we have to divide this result by length. So whatever values we are getting, so we need to keep as it is, because these terms we are taking further. So actually these terms are deciding the raster unit. So what is raster unit? So what is raster? Raster is nothing but the pixel. So what we are doing, we are trying the first pixel and we are trying to calculate the next pixel. What is line? Line is nothing but collection of pixels. आपण लाईन कशी ड्रॉ करणार आहे? पिक्सल बाय पिक्सल. म्हणजे पहिला एंड पॉइंट आपल्याला दिलेला आहे, त्याच्यानंतर दुसरा एंड पॉइंट दिलेला आहे. तर हे दोन्ही एंड पॉइंट यूज करून आपण काय करणार आहोत? इंटरमिडिएट पिक्सल कॅल्क्युलेट करणार आहोत. So we are trying to calculate the intermediate pixels. And how to calculate the intermediate pixels? So mostly intermediate pixels are calculated by adding some value to the x coordinate and y coordinate of starting point. For example, suppose, again I will take the help of this pen. Suppose this is my x axis, and this is suppose my y axis. So if I want to draw the line from this point to say this point, okay, so this is nothing but the point which is given to me. It's x coordinate, I know. It's y coordinate, I know. Again, this is the end point which is given to me. So I know it's x, I know it's y. So while I am drawing this line, ही लाईन मी जर ड्रॉ करत असेल तर मोस्टली कसं ड्रॉ करतो आपण? इथून ह्या पिक्सलला जातो, इथून ह्या पिक्सलला जातो, like that onwards. So what we are trying to do? We are trying to draw the line pixel by pixel. म्हणजे एक पिक्सल वरून दुसरा पिक्सल कॅल्क्युलेट करायचा आहे आपल्याला, दुसरा पिक्सल वरून तिसरा पिक्सल कॅल्क्युलेट करायचा आहे. Like that onwards, we need to calculate the intermediate pixels. We need to calculate the intermediate pixels, and while we are calculating the intermediate pixels, so we are considering the values x coordinate and y coordinate of previous pixel. For example, if you take this pixel, suppose this pixel is having the value say 1 1. Say 1 1, x value is 1 and y value is 1. So if I want to take this pixel, so this pixel may be having the values, say 2, 2. This pixel may be having 2, 2. So how to calculate this 2, 2? So 2 is nothing but 1 plus 1. This 2 is nothing but 1 plus 1. It means something I'm adding in the x value and something I'm adding in the y value, and then I'm able to get the x and y of next pixel. Yes, are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So while we are calculating the next pixel, we are taking the previous pixel into consideration. And with respect to the previous pixel x and y, we are adding some values. And what are these values? These values are nothing but delta x and delta y. So we are trying to add a delta x and we are trying to add delta y in the previous point, and then we are calculating the next point. Okay. So for that purpose, we are taking delta x and delta y. So here in the fifth step, we are calculating delta x and delta y with the help of these formulas. After that, round the values rather than truncate so that center pixel addressing is handled correctly. So what we are doing, so we are taking the help of floating point arithmetic over here. So here we are taking 0.5. So in x1 we are adding 0.5. So result will be, for example, if the value of x1 will be 3, so result will be 3.5. And if I see 3.5, what is 3.5? It is nothing but a floating point number. It's not an integer number. So if I take only 3, so 3 will be integer number. But if I take it as a 3.5, it will be floating point number. Okay. So here we are taking the help of floating point arithmetic. And with the help of floating point arithmetic, actually DDA takes the help of floating point arithmetic. And that's why we require more space to store the variable. For your kind information, you are good familiar with integer and float, two data types in C, integer and float. So how much space is required to store the integer? Can anybody? What is the size of integer?
2 bytes.
Good, 2 bytes. And what about float?
4 bytes.
4 bytes.
Good, 4 bytes. So if you compare 2 bytes and 4 bytes, so which one is the greater one? 4 bytes. It means to store the floating point value, I require 4 bytes. What in by 4 bytes? So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So 4 bytes is equal to 4 into 8, that is 32 bits. So I need to store 32 bits and I need to do the processing on these 32 bits. So if I do processing on integer, so it requires less time. But if I do the processing on float, it requires more time. Okay. So over here we are taking the round value. So round the values rather than truncate so that center pixel addressing is handled correctly. So we are taking the help of integer function over here to round off the values. So just now we talked about the integer. If I pass minus 8.5, so it returns me minus 9. If I pass 8.5, it returns me 8. So round off values we are using. So round off function we are using over here in DDA. So in the sixth step, what we are doing in original x and y. So this we are calculating x and y of the next pixel. So the first pixel is nothing but x1, y1. So in x1 and y1, we are adding 0.5 and 0.5. Again, this is the standard one given in DDA. DDA काय करतोय पहिल्या पिक्सल मध्ये तो 0.5 ऍड करून ठेवतोय and then it is telling us to calculate the pixels. Now come to the last step, major step. Begin main loop I is equal to 1 while I less than equal to length. So we have calculated the length. So we are initializing the variable I for 1. So we have to follow this loop from 1 to length. For example, if the length is 5, so I need to follow this while loop 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it is I less than equal to length. And after that, what I will do? Set pixel integer of x, integer of y. So set pixel is nothing but equivalent to put pixel. So in algorithm, the keyword is set pixel. आणि हे फंक्शन तुम्हाला इम्प्लिमेंट करायचं असेल तर प्रोग्राम मध्ये तुम्हाला put pixel फंक्शन यूज करायचे. So what we are doing with the help of put pixel function, we are drawing the pixel. We are drawing the pixel. So to this function, we are passing two parameters, that is integer of x and integer of y. And how to calculate this x and y? So this is calculated in the sixth step. And after that, after plotting, after drawing one pixel, what we are doing? we are adding delta x to x and delta y to y, and we are calculating the next xy. We are calculating the next xy and again end y. Okay, finish. So this is nothing but the algorithm. So now we'll see this algorithm with the help of example. Okay, so now listen carefully to understand the algorithm, then I will tell you to write. For example, we'll take a simple example. So I want to draw the line from 0, 0 to 5, 5. I want to draw the line from 0, 0 to 5, 5. So these are the two endpoints given to me. So first endpoint is nothing but 0, 0 and second endpoint is nothing but 5, 5. So that's why my x1 will be 0, y1 will be 0, x2 will be 5 and y2 will be 5. So I will go to the previous slide. So over here the line endpoints are x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so according to this line, so what are the values of x1, y1, x2, y2? So values of x1 will be 0, y1 will be 0, x2 will be 5, y2 will be 5. So this is the example. Okay, next we have to calculate the length. So आपल्याला काय दिलं जाणार आहे, फक्त दोन एंड पॉइंट दिलेले आहेत, त्याच्यावरून आपल्याला काय करायचं आता, हा अल्गोरिदम अप्लाय करायचे. So we got two endpoints. Now we have to apply the integer function, we have to apply the sine function, and here in the fourth step it has told that calculate the length. So how to calculate the length? It is absolute of x2 minus x1 greater than equal to absolute of y2 minus y1. So what is my x2? x2 is nothing but 5. So 5 minus 0, it will be 5 greater than equal to, again y2 is also 5. Is it right? Yes. Are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
So our
Yes, ma'am.
y2 is also 5. So 5,
Yes, ma'am.
5 minus 0, it is again 5. It means both values are same. So absolute of x2 minus x1 is also 5 and absolute of y2 minus y1 is also 5. So both are same. So either take the length is equal to absolute of x2 minus x1 or you can take the length is equal to absolute of y2 minus y1. दोन्ही व्हॅल्यूज सेम आहेत, त्यामुळे लेंथ एक तर ऍब्सोल्यूट ऑफ x2 minus x1 कन्सिडर करा किंवा y2 minus y1 कन्सिडर करा, बिकॉज both values are 5. So that's why we calculated the length as a 5. Yes, everybody got the clear idea? In this example, length is nothing but 5. So whichever is greater that we are going to consider. But over here, both values are 5. 5 minus 0, 5 minus 0. So absolute of 5 minus 0 will be 5. Absolute of 5 minus 0 will be 5. So that's why length will be 5. So may I proceed further? Got the clear idea about length? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is very simple example. That's why we no need to think more over here. So once we go to the second example, we need to think more. So over there we are taking some negative values, etc. Okay, so we calculated length as a 5. Now again come to the algorithm. So after calculating of the length, what we have done? So we have calculated delta x and delta y. So forget about these lines. So don't take the help of these lines. Just whatever we need to calculate over here. So according to fifth step, we need to calculate delta x and delta y. And what is delta x? Delta x is nothing but x2 minus x1 divided by length, and delta y is nothing but y2 minus y1 divided by length. And the same thing I done over here also. So delta x is equal to x2 minus x1, that is 5 minus 0, 5 divided by length. Length is 5. So 5 divided by 5, 1. And again delta y, y2 minus y1, that is 5 minus 0, 5, 5 divided by 5. So again delta y will be 1. Got the clear idea? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are just calculating the values. So up to the fifth step we came. Now sixth step tells me that, so you have to add 0.5 to x1 and you have to add 0.5 to y1. So what is my x1? My x1 is 0. What is my y1? My y1 is 0. माझा पहिला पॉइंट कुठला आहे? एंड पॉइंट 0, 0 आहे. So that's why my x1 will be 0 and y1 will be 0. So I will add 0.5 and I will add 0.5 to both x1 as well as y1. So I will get the result as a x is equal to 0.5 and y is equal to 0.5. Are you agree with me? I will get the result x is equal to 0.5, y is equal to 0.5. So same thing I have written over here. So x is equal to 0.5, y is equal to 0.5. Okay. So according to sixth step, we decided the value of x and y. So up to this will be constant. And once I go to the sixth step, so I need to make a loop. So I have to go to the loop. So in the seventh step, so I'm entering in the loop. So now the value of I will be 1. Value of I will be 1. So I'm showing the cursor over here. So when the value of I will be 1, so what I will do, so while I is equal to 1, while I less than equal to length. What is the value of length over here? Come on.
5.
Length is 5. Okay. So what is the value of I? I is 1. So 1 less than equal to 5. 1 less than equal to 5. Condition is true. So 1 is less than length. So if the condition is true, what I need to do? I need to set the pixel. So set pixel integer x, integer y. So what is the value of x? Value of x is 0.5. Value of y is 0.5. So what I will do? So integer of 0.5 and integer of 0.5. So now can you tell me what this integer function will return? Integer of 0.5. Come on. Integer of 0.5, 0.5. So it returns 0. Integer of 0.5, it returns 0. So that's why we are plotting the first pixel as a 0, 0. We are plotting the first pixel as a 0, 0. Okay. So here set pixel integer of x, integer of y. Again, next we have to recalculate the x. So x is equal to x plus delta x. So what is the original value of x over here? So x is nothing but 0.5, which we passed over here. So 0.5 plus delta x. So what is the value of delta x? We calculated delta x is equal to 1. And we calculated delta y is equal to 1. So now what we are doing? We are adding this delta x and delta y in x and y. So original x is 0.5, original y is 0.5. So after adding, x is equal to 0.5 plus 1, y is equal to 0.5 plus 1. So what will the values of x and y now? Come on.
1.5, 1.5.
Good. So now x becomes
1.5.
0.5 and y becomes 1.5. Okay. So again come to this loop. So after incrementing x and y by delta x and delta y, what we are doing? We are trying to end the while loop. So can we end the while loop? No, because the value of I is 1 and 1 is less than equal to length. So I need to loop inside that loop. I need to go once again inside this loop because the value of I is less than equal to length. So I am in the loop. Is it right? So I need to increment I. So I will be incremented. So the value of I becomes now 2. It's the while loop. Value of I will be get incremented. So I is equal to 2. So I becomes 2. So once I becomes 2, so again 2 is less than equal to 5. Again 2 is less than equal to 5 length. So condition is true. Again set pixel. So now what is integer of 1.5? So now this value will be integer of 1.5, integer of 1.5. So it will be
1, 1.
good. It will be 1.
1, 1.
So we are plotting the pixel 1, 1. पहिल्यांदा कुठला प्लॉट केला आपण 0, 0 प्लॉट केला. आता आपण 1, 1 प्लॉट करतोय. Is it right? So in the same fashion, again next x value will be, आता काय करणार आहे? प्लॉट केल्यानंतर परत आपण x व्हॅल्यू इन्क्रीमेंट करतोय. सो अगेन x इज इक्वल टू x प्लस डेल्टा x. सो x इज 1.5. आता चेंज झालेली व्हॅल्यू घ्यायची आपल्याला प्रत्येक वेळेला. सो नाव x इज 1.5 प्लस डेल्टा x. व्हॉट इज डेल्टा x? इट इज 1. सो इट बिकम्स 2.5. So x becomes 2.5, y becomes 2.5. So that is shown over here. So x is equal to 2.5, y is equal to 2.5. And again after that, okay, so again after incrementing x and y, I am trying to end the while loop, but it is not allowing me to end because still I is less than equal to 5. So now i's value becomes 3. I's value becomes 3. I is equal to 3, and I will plot the pixel 2, 2. So integer of 2.5, integer of 2.5, that will be 2, 2. Yes, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so after 2, 2, again what we are doing? So again we are incrementing the value. So integer of 2.5, integer of 2.5. So this is 2.5 plus 1, 2.5 plus 1. So x becomes 3.5, y becomes 3.5. And again we are trying to end the while loop, but value of I is still less than 5. So value of I will be now 4. So I is equal to 4, and I'm trying to plot the value 3, 3. That is integer of 3.5, integer of 3.5. So right round figure will be 3, 3. Again, I will increment x and y. So 3.5 plus 1, 3.5 plus 1, it will be 4.5. It will be 4.5. Again, I'm trying to end the while loop. The value of I becomes 4. 4 is less than equal to 5. So I need to plot the pixel. So I will plot the pixel 4, 4. So x is equal to 4.5, y is equal to 4.5, I becomes 5. It will be 4, 4. Okay. So up to 4, 4 we came. So value of I is now this x will be, here we have plotted 4, 4. So at that time the value of x was 4.5 and value of y was 4.5. Now x becomes 4.5 plus 1, that is 5.5, and y becomes again 5.5. आता x आणि y ची व्हॅल्यू काय झालेली आहे 5.5, 5.5, and while I am trying to end the while loop, it increments the I, and I becomes 5. I becomes 5. So I, that is 5 less than equal to, no, I becomes 6. So 6 less than equal to 5, condition is false. So that's why I am unable to draw the last pixel. So when I was 5, I drawn 4, 4. When I will become 6, I am unable to draw 5, 5 because 6 is not less than equal to 5. Condition will be false. Condition of while loop will be false. Are you getting my point? येते लक्षात?
Yes, ma'am.
आपण I 1 पासून सुरू केलेलं आहे. I is equal to 1. 1 असताना 0, 0 प्लॉट केला. 2 असताना 1, 1 प्लॉट केला. 3 असताना 2, 2 प्लॉट केला. 4 असताना 3, 3 प्लॉट केला. आणि 5 असताना 4, 4 प्लॉट केला. आणि 4, 4 प्लॉट झाल्यानंतर तुम्ही जर अल्गोरिदम बघितला तर प्लॉट केल्यावर आपण व्हॅल्यू इन्क्रीमेंट करतोय. म्हणजे आता इथे एक्स आणि वाय ची व्हॅल्यू काय झालेली आहे 5.5 आणि 5.5 झालेली आहे. म्हणजे आपण कुठला पिक्सल प्लॉट करायला पाहिजे 5, 5 प्लॉट करायला पाहिजे. पण त्यावेळेस आय ची व्हॅल्यू काय होणार आहे 6 होणार आहे. At that time the value of I will becomes 6, and 6 is not less than equal to 5. So that's why we are not going to this loop. We are coming out of this loop, and that's why we are unable to plot 5, 5. This is the major disadvantage with respect to DDA. I don't know whether you are getting or not. येते लक्षात? आपण कुठून सुरू केलं होतं I ची व्हॅल्यू 1 पासून सुरू केली होती. जेव्हा I ची व्हॅल्यू 1 होती तेव्हा 0, 0 प्लॉट केलं. जेव्हा I ची व्हॅल्यू 2 झाली तेव्हा 1, 1 प्लॉट केलं. जेव्हा I ची व्हॅल्यू 3 झाली तेव्हा 2, 2 प्लॉट केलं. जेव्हा 4 होतीये तेव्हा 3, 3 प्लॉट करतोय. आणि जेव्हा 5 होतीये तेव्हा 4, 4 प्लॉट करतोय. आणि जेव्हा 6 होईल म्हणजे I ची व्हॅल्यू अगोदर इन्क्रीमेंट होतीये आणि नंतर ना आपण प्लॉट करतोय. मग I ची व्हॅल्यू 6 झाल्यानंतर आपल्याला 5, 5 प्लॉट करायचंय. मग 6 झाल्यानंतर आपण त्या लूप मध्ये जाऊ शकतोय का प्लॉट करण्यासाठी? जाऊ शकत नाही. That's why we are unable to plot 5, 5. So that's why it is said that in DDA we are unable to draw the line, we are unable to end the line properly. We are unable to end the line properly. Got it? इथे लाईन स्टार्ट झालीये, करेक्टली स्टार्ट झालीये, पण करेक्टली एंड झालेली नाहीये. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Students, it's very
Yes,
simple
ma'am.
example. इथे काय केलं आपण 5 पॉइंट प्लॉट केले. कुठले कुठले? 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 आणि 4, 4. आणि जेव्हा आपण 5, 5 प्लॉट करायला जातोय तो आपल्याला व्हाईल लूप मध्ये जाऊ देत नाही. का तर त्यावेळेस आय ची व्हॅल्यू 6 झालेली असते. So 6 less than equal to 5, which is false. So that's why it is coming out of while loop. And this is nothing but the DDA, simple example. Okay. So any doubt with respect to this example?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I think time is over. So Mari madam is calling me. Is it right? So it is 2:05. So we'll stop here. In the next lecture, I will allow you to write the algorithm as well as example, and then we'll proceed to the next example. Okay. So stop. Yes. Can we stop?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.